That's a gay-ass podcast.
What? That's a gay-ass podcast. A what? A really, really, really gay podcast that we call That's a Gay-Ass Podcast.
That's a gay-ass name for a gay-ass podcast.
Welcome back to That's a Gay-Ass Podcast, the podcast that asks, whose fault is it that you're gay? It is me, Eric Williams, and this week's guest. You've seen his ass on Instagram. You've seen him slay at the Olympics, and you've seen his perfect dog, Birdie. Y'all, it's Gus Kenworthy on That's a Gay-Ass Podcast. In this episode, we talk about throuples, we talk about daddies, we talk about the character actress we would love to get stoned with, we talk naked showers at Burning Man, and let me make one thing clear. Gus brings up body hair and not me. Okay? If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening on the podcast app, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, you get it. But please, y'all, buckle the brunch up for this episode with Gus Kenworthy. Gus Kenworthy is on That's a Gay-Ass Fucking Podcast. Gus, it is such a gay-ass thrill to have you here. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, it's a gay-ass pleasure.
I was going to say, my favorite type of pleasure is of the gay ass variety. And I don't know, is that a tease? We're going to have a whole segment later on, Gus, what our favorite things to do with gay asses are. But we'll let the audience marinate on that. So while we're marinating, I need to ask you your first controversial question. Gus Kenworthy, your bio says Britney Spears used to follow me. Gus, what happened?
I don't know. And I am so happy that her conservatorship is over, but when it ended, I got unfollowed.
That's the headline.
I know. I don't know if it was like not her choice to follow me, but she tweeted at me during the 2018 Winter Olympics. I had said that I was skiing to one of her songs, and I don't even know exactly how it happened, but she tweeted. And it was very cool. And then I got to present her a Vanguard Award at the GLAAD Awards with Adam Rippon. And so we got to meet really briefly and got a photo. And she was following me, and I was like excited about it. And then I noticed when the conservatorship ended, so did the followship.
The followship fell with the conservatorship. I wonder who, it wasn't a gay assistant behind the scenes doing that, because they would have refollowed you and then liked all of your thirst traps. But I wonder who in Britney's camp is a part of the unfollowing spree. The true crime documentary, Gus, if Netflix asked you to discuss Britney Spears unfollowing people, would you be down to do a confessional?
Yeah, and the way that they do it is it'd be spread into like 6 episodes. It could be told in like 5 minutes, but it's like a 6-part, very intense.
And who's watching all 6 parts? This girl.
Yeah, same.
I'm going to play a game of slay or nay with you, Gus Kenworthy, where you have to give me your answer of if it is a slay or if it is a nay. Our first slay or nay, Gus Kenworthy, slay or nay, number 1, bachelor parties where people bring cutouts of the groom's face.
Nay.
Thank you. I totally agree. It's this crazy trend that I'm like, I understand we're trying to be celebratory, but it almost feels like we don't need to be doing a full cutout. I think it's okay just to go one dick for life.
This is obviously not a gay bachelor party.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I am trying. I guess I'm throwing shade more to the straight girlies. But if it's a gay bachelor party, what would you say would be, if you were to have a gay bachelor party, where would you go? What's the setting?
Like Rio or something, or like Madrid.
Done. I saw that you had a really great trip to Spain somewhat recently with a group of gays. And for someone who hasn't gone, tell me, where am I going first, and what do I have to look out for when it comes to the gay spectacle of Spain?
Well, what you have to look out for is, it was my first time in Madrid, and everyone warned us that like the police are really homophobic, and you can get like stopped and frisked and stuff, like leaving parties in the morning, and there's lots of parties going on. So that was like something to be really mindful of. But it was really fun. I went for Madrid Pride. It was kind of like stimulation overload. There was like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of very hot men, and it was fun. I don't know. Highly recommend. Go with a group of friends.
Your next slay or nay, Gus Kenworthy, is high school reunions. Slay or nay?
I would say nay. I've never had one, but I also went to a really small high school, and so I feel like I have a high school reunion when I go home for Christmas. And it's like it's kind of like an unwanted high school reunion.
Yeah. I find that must be so interesting when all of us who were gay in high school, which was, I'm going to say most of us, coming back as an out person is already an interesting experience. I, for one, have come across the girl that I dated in high school at these different gatherings. I am mostly like not worried about, being out now amongst the straight guys I went to high school with, but it does bring up a certain low level panic. Do you happen to feel any of that going back when you see those people, or is it sort of not get in your psyche?
I don't know. I guess it doesn't really get in my psyche. I don't really feel that, but I can understand it. And actually, like a year ago, a little over a year ago, I brought my ex-boyfriend to come to my hometown for a visit, and we were like eating at a restaurant, and this girl was like at a table behind us, and she was like crying. We could kind of hear her crying, and it was like, okay, that's kind of awkward. And then she like got up and walked by, and then she was like, Gus? And I was like, oh my God, hey, and like got up and gave her a hug, and then she walked away, and I like turned to my boyfriend and was like, that's the girl I lost my virginity to.
Was that why she was crying?
It was why she was crying, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It was not. It had nothing to do with it.
the second she
I hope.
sees you.
Actually, I don't know. She walks over. She's like, "Hey," I'm like, "You actually really need to get over it. It's been."
I want to. Fuck the 6-episode series about Britney Spears unfollowing you. I want to hear the 6-part Netflix series about your ex-girlfriend weeping whenever she sees you at a Chili's. Shout out to the girlies in high school who we might have been experimenting with when we were having girlfriends, or just the girls who sat with us at the cafeteria table. We shout them out. We thank them for their service. However, before the next slay or nay, Gus, I did do some research, and it looks like you did skip the 8th grade. Brag. Were you a nerd and a jock? What's the vibe? Who were you sitting with at the cafeteria lunch table?
Yeah, I was kind of a nerd and a jock. But I was sitting with sort of like the jocks, I guess. I mean, it was a really small town, and like it wasn't like we didn't have a football team, and it wasn't like very cliquey just because it was really small. But like there was a group of friends that were all skiers, and that was kind of my crew.
Slay or nay? Throuples.
I mean, slay if it works for you. I find myself sometimes kind of doubting it. Like in my mind, I'm like, surely 2 of you are more into each other than the other one. But like maybe it truly isn't that for a lot of them. And like they are all completely equally into one another, and like they each bring something different to the relationship, and it's balanced. And like I think it's cool and progressive, and I'm all for it. I haven't seen a ton of them that have lasted for a very long time, but I'm all for experimenting and exploring and being open-minded and open-hearted, and like go for it.
I love that. I'm also loving the idea of it becoming more normal, and then we see like 85-year-old throuple men who are like, they're all in Palm Springs. We've been together since 1998, and they're fully just, the 3 of them have been traveling together. They take 1 row on an airplane. They always have their California king. I don't know. There's something romantic about old age throuples, and I hope we see it in our lifetimes.
I just love seeing old couples. It's actually so cute.
Now, we can always go back to more slay or nays, but I'm feeling like we have to ask the famous gay-ass podcast question. Gus Kenworthy, that question is, whose fault is it that you're gay? Who do we blame, babe?
I mean, I feel like there's a couple. Pee Wee Herman comes to mind. Like I loved Pee Wee's Playhouse when I was a kid. Pee Wee's Big Adventure, Pee Wee's Christmas Special is like the gayest thing ever. It's like got Grace Jones and Whoopi Goldberg and people on it. But also like kind of Carson Daly from TRL.
Huge.
Yeah, I was young and was definitely like, what's going on with him?
Let's unpack that. We're definitely going to get into the Pee-wee's Playhouse too, but Carson Daly, was it something about his just confidence on TRL? Was it a physical attribute? What was doing it for you?
Couldn't tell you. I
It
mean,
was just the essence.
if I look back at it now, I'm like, oh yeah, he's hot. I was also really into Missy's brother in Bring It On. What's his name? What's the actor's name?
Oh my God,
Cliff. I feel like it was they kind of had a Jesse Bradford.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of had like a little bit of a similar vibe, but I liked that kind of like dark hair, edgy boy. I don't know. I feel like Carson was kind of giving that too.
Oh, 100%. I think it's also because he is someone who has like a confidence of a hot guy, but he's also like alternative enough that he doesn't feel better than you. He's not an asshole. He's just like happens to have really dreamy blue eyes and probably soft lips that feel delicious kissing. Hey, I'm Carson Daly. I think that's the vibe.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
But then if you were up having moments of staring at Carson Daly in between viewings of Pee-wee's Playhouse, is that why you think that when your mom and you did that beautiful segment for them, I believe, talking about when you came out, is that why you think that she knew you were gay and she was just waiting for you to tell her yourself? Like, was the Pee-wee's Playhouse, do you think, like the telltale? Were you doing pirouettes? What do you think it was?
I don't know. Also, I have two older brothers that are both straight and also liked Pee-wee's Playhouse. And like, I kind of liked all the same things as them. And my brother Nick and I used to kind of a lot put on my mom's clothes. Like we would like we loved slipping into dresses and her little like kitten heels. And there's so many photos of us when we were young doing that. And he's like fully straight. So I don't know.
I love that. What an ally.
I kind of feel like a mother just knows.
Oh, that's true. My mother absolutely knew, but I think I didn't have the straight brothers who I could wear the dresses with, but I do have a younger brother who I would actually, speaking of Bring It On, choreograph routines with him after I saw the movie. I mean, he was fully like 6 years old, had truly no choice in the matter. And I would go a 5, 6, 7, 8 and make this poor straight little baby do basket tosses.
It's the price he has to pay. That's child labor, but it's also allyship.
It's allyship, it's child labor. And I do love, though, thinking about your upbringing with the straight brothers. It's always so interesting to me when you look at the crossover of people growing up in very sort of hetero male centric, and not to stereotype, but Colorado to me, again, feels like it's so athletic, it's so outdoorsy. There's just this like machismo attitude, but you were able to lean into your queerness and obviously come out in a very public platform. What is it like with your straight brothers?
Quite a bit later though. I mean, I wasn't like out when I was younger. But sorry, keep going. What were you saying?
Well, what was it like then when you came out? Obviously, like you're saying, maybe a bit later, but you have this, close relationship with your siblings. Your mom says that she knew, but did you feel, because you were such an athlete and doing so many things with your brothers, that you had any sort of difficulties or fear about coming out to them specifically?
Yeah. Also, like, that was when my brothers and I were younger, and that particular brother's like 3 years older than me. And then when we got a little bit older, we were like not friends. Like we went through a phase where we like kind of hated each other. And he's like actually the sweetest now, but he was kind of a dick during that time. And like, I don't know, maybe kind of homophobic, but not actually homophobic, because when I came out, I was living in Denver and he came up to stay with me, and we or with like some of his friends, they were going to a concert or something, but he and I went to dinner, and it was right after I came out, and he was like, I just really wanted to like apologize for anything that I ever did or said, or anything that like maybe made your life harder or like hurt your feelings. And like, I didn't actually ever think that you were gay. And I am just so sorry if I ever said anything that made it harder for you to be yourself. And like, I'm so proud of you. I was like, oh my God, I'm like so moved by it.
I mean, I'm moved just hearing that. That must have been huge, because I think I give straight men a lot of shit because they deserve it. But also, I think that there is such an element of ignorance, and I don't mean that in like the mean, cruel way.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like
it's
there's
true.
an ignorance to like they're just like everyone's fucking gay. If I think you're stupid, you're fucking gay. And then of course when they're putting that towards their brother who happens to be gay. And by the way, I'm speaking this from experience. I too have brothers who were total dicks. I mean, I've said this on the podcast, and just like you and your brother, you have a good relationship now. I have a good relationship with my twin brother now. He was a total dick throughout high school.
You have a
He was-
twin?
I do. Straight twin.
Identical?
Very fraternal, very
Fraternal.
fraternal. I'm 6'2", he's 5'4". He is like, he's grown up to be like very sweet. He's got two
Okay, that's the
beautiful
reason he
kids.
was mean to you. It's not because you were gay. You're 6'2" and he's 5'4". He's got a bone to pick.
Well, if it makes him feel better, he was always so much better at sports than me, but at least I could like reach the net. But I will say that I think, yeah, he definitely had maybe a Napoleonic complex, whatever it was, but he was a total asshole. And when I came out to him, he too was shocked because he said things to me, not necessarily just about being gay, but just anything that was about being girly or different. And yes, being gay, that I think when he realized I actually was, he was like, holy shit, I think I really did not make it easy for him. And so it's so great to hear that after the fact. I mean, you must have obviously felt so touched when your brother said that. Would you ever have expected him to say that, or was it out of left field?
I mean, now I feel like I would expect it because he's like kind of continued to show me that person, but I feel like at the time it came out of left field.
Yeah. I think a lot of people deal with that, people who were awful growing up, but then there's that interesting balance of giving them space to prove that they have changed while also sort of taking care of the younger version of ourselves that dealt with pain at their hands. And I think that is something that is complicated, especially as like a gay adult, that is not often spoken of, which is continuing relationships with family members as an adult that is trying to honor the pain we felt as kids while still giving them a fresh start or a chance to shift, to change the dynamic. And I think that that's what you're proving with your brother, which is great.
Yeah. He's like really fully an ally though, and like has continued to prove it for me, and like has come and stayed with me in LA and like gone out to gay bars and like danced and had fun, and is, I don't know, super supportive.
Hell fucking yeah. I gotta get my twin brother to go to the gay bars and dance with me. You win on that front. I do also, when we talk about family, I think what you have proven also is that you really have invested in your chosen family, whether it is talking about the athletes and the way that you have really advocated for visibility in sports for queer people, but you also are a big old burner, bitch. And I need to talk about your experience with Burning Man. You have posted that you are part of Camp Cockpit, and you have posted that you are, quote, radically codependent on this group. Is this the truth?
Well, it was sort of a little bit of a wordplay just because the first rule of Burning Man is like radical self-reliance. And you're supposed to be really independent. Everything you bring out there, you have to have all of your water, your food, your supplies. You're really supposed to be able to take care of yourself. Even though it's a community and you're looking out for one another, you shouldn't be relying on anyone. So that was kind of the joke. But I am. A lot of my like best friends are in that group, and some people I wasn't super close with going into it, but it was a great group of people, and also met a lot of people out there that were so lovely, and I just love Burning Man.
It seems like
the best.
It seems like an incredible experience. I think for you, who is very much used to the difficulty of sport and obviously the emotional turmoil when it comes to competing at a global scale, but also physically, for someone like me who might be, I'm not like a bougie bitch, but I am a bit of like a sensitive, delicate flower. Could I survive Burning Man?
I think so. I mean, I don't know you that well, but I do feel like it's not something that is so crazy difficult. It feels like maybe it seems daunting, but then when you're actually out there, it's kind of not, and you can kind of choose your own adventure with it. Like you can really like tap out and like be on your own program, take some downtime. There's a lot of like wellness stuff that's going on, sound baths and meditations. And like you can look at the schedule, and like different camps are offering different things, and so you can go and like have a green juice at one camp, or like go to a guided meditation, or do something that feels sort of like wholesome and relaxed, or you can like go see DJs.
Fuck yeah. No, you're right. That's a good pitch. I'm a total crunchy girly when it comes to a good
And there's also like, if
meditation.
you have an RV, you can shower there. Also, that, because I feel like that's always a big concern for people, is like being dirty. But there's like these big towel, they're basically like wet wipes, but they're like almost like towel size. And they're like, they come in like kind of a lot of liquids. So they're pretty wet. And you can actually clean off pretty well with those. There are showers if you're in an RV. And then there are camps that offer showers. Like I went twice when I was there, and you can shower and they give you like actual overhead water and soap and stuff. But then the caveat's that you have to shower in front of everybody naked. But it's kind of like fun and hot.
I was gonna say that sounds kind of fucking hot. Is that what, when people, because I hear that Burning Man can be a big fuck fest. Are people fucking with dust on them? Are we going shower first? How does it happen?
For sure,
Okay.
both. I mean, there's like, yeah, I think it's like, it definitely can be a big fuck fest. I don't know if it's like always that. And I feel like a lot of people's experience isn't that, but you certainly could have that as your chosen adventure.
Oh yeah, I've heard there's like an orgy tent. I've heard like
there's an orgy dome.
Orgy dome. God, that is the orgy dome all genders, or is there like a gay dome?
There is a gay one, and the orgy dome itself is all genders, but I have never been into it.
Interesting. So something to potentially look forward to. You also had like a workroom moment giving Drag Race King when you made your own Beanie Baby outfit that I just feel deserves airtime. Thank
you. I also posted a video of it that got taken off Instagram after. It was like my best performing post ever, taken down.
It was because of your bare ass?
I guess so.
Fucking. We're living in...
This is hell.
This is hell. I think the biggest issue that we're facing, I think we can all agree, is that Gus Kenworthy cannot post his hole on Instagram.
It's censorship.
Wait a minute. So because, well, not to say that I was looking for it, but I was, and I found that on your highlights on your Instagram, you did have a story where you show off the Beanie Baby front and then you show off the jock strap back, and there is still a view of ass on story highlights if anybody happens to be listening that wants to find it. So at least Instagram kept that up. We can celebrate the small wins.
Internet sleuth over here.
What can I say? Did you have to put sunscreen on your ass?
I don't think I did. I also, that outfit I wore like, I don't know, maybe for like 5 hours or something, but I put it on toward the end of the day one day and like had it on for sunset and sort of like went to dance in it for a little bit and then like went and changed when it got cold.
God, I love it so much. Well,
so no sunburn.
I aspire to have one day, truly one day, I'm going to go to Burning Man. I'm going to shower naked. I'm going to ride a bike bare ass, and I'm just going to try to order the Gus Kenworthy Burning Man package, and I can't wait to report back.
Honestly, it's a great experience. I think you'd like it.
Y'all know I love talking about getting down, but what about getting ready to get down? That's why I'm here to tell you about Pure for Men, the brand for good health and good times. The product I'm obsessed with is their Stay Ready Fiber, which is a unique proprietary blend of the highest quality ingredients. I'm talking psyllium husk, I'm talking aloe vera, chia seed, flaxseed, and all you need is just 2 servings a day. As a Jewess with a sensitive tummy, you know I appreciate the extra help. You see, Pure for Men is made by gay men for members of the queer community, and their Stay Ready Fiber is the leading men's cleanliness fiber supplement that helps keep you confident from daytime to playtime. Pure for Men's high-grade fiber keeps your digestive tract clean, and baby, I swear by it. You can enjoy 20% off the Stay Ready Fiber with promo code GAYASS20. That's right, listeners. 20% off with promo code GAYASS20, because with Pure for Men, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Enjoy that discount code GAYASS20. Well, I will say that in addition to your Burning Man situation and your herstory there, you also have a very interesting history when it comes to your actual coming out in such a public sphere, when it comes to the ESPN magazine of it all, when it comes to kissing your ex on the television. I think a lot of us want to know, how do you maintain a good friendship with an ex the way that you have? I have not been privy to an ex-boyfriend wanting to maintain a friendship with me. How have you kept the magic alive with someone you were once dating with for many years?
I mean, I have an ex that I'm pretty good friends with and an ex that I don't really speak with, so it kind of goes both ways. But I don't know, my ex Matt, like he's the best. He's like so sweet and funny, and like I just love him. And so like it didn't work out for us, but it also did. I don't know. I feel like sometimes when people like think about a relationship not working, it's like, oh, that was a waste or whatever. And I don't feel that way about any of them. Like I feel like they worked out. They just maybe weren't meant to last forever. And it was like a learning experience and you got to have this connection with someone. And so like I'm super grateful for that time with him. And it was also like a really pivotal part of my life. And he was so monumental in that chapter of my life. And we also have so many mutual friends that it was like not even really an option to not remain friends or be civil. And like, we're not like best friends. We're not like texting every day or anything, but like we'll go on trips together with other people. And like, we have a lot of love for one another and we'll grab a meal and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of that. Like I love and respect him and care about him. So even though it's not romantic anymore, it's like those feelings are still there.
You know what that makes me think of is when we were kind of having a conversation about the throuples of it all. I think that the older we get, especially as queer people, there's sort of a difference of how we define our friendships and relationships when it comes to either we have dated someone or maybe we have hooked up with someone. I think there's much more prevalence in the gay community of people who have an intimate past with someone that is no longer intimate, but is still there's a closeness there, more so than in straight worlds. And I think that
for sure,
you know, when I think about some of my friends, and for example, there's friends of mine who we used to hook up with and really no longer do, but we will still have dinner and we will still hang out and there's no weirdness about it. But if I sometimes will tell, I mean, certainly if I would tell like one of my brothers or something, they would not understand that. But I think that's a beauty of
I think a lot of gay friendships start as a hookup or dating, and then it's sort of like, oh, this isn't right, but like we're friends. I feel like I feel like there's a lot of people that I've like hooked up with and then are friends with, and then I don't hook up with anymore once they've sort of been delegated a friend.
Yeah.
But then also like my very, very, very best friends, I've never, ever done anything with.
No, that definitely is, I think, the camps that things fall in. The friends that you become friends with after hooking up, the close friends you would never hook up with, or whatever the third thing you said was. I think that the interesting thing about it though is that we are defining what our friendships are, and we don't need to make everything black and white. I feel like I'm not shitting on straight people at all. I just feel like it is a moment worth celebrating, because I was telling friends recently, straight married couple, I was telling them how my husband and I have opened up we've been hooking up with other people over the past 3 years, and they were surprised because they've known me my entire life, and they were like, oh my god, like how does it work? And then they were like, do you know any straight couples that are also open? Because one of them in the couple was very interested in how we've made it work. I don't know if I know many. Do you know any straight couples who are open who have really made it work?
Yeah, I have two really close friends who I guess I won't name because I don't know if they want to be named, but
yeah.
I have two very close friends that have been together for ages, married for a number of years, and just opened up like this year. And it's going really well for them.
I love
like they're having lots of fun. They're having experiences together. They're having experiences alone. They're communicating about it. They're like getting to kind of have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, well, that's the key, obviously, is the communication. But that someone told me when they saw a clip of the podcast talking about whether it was fucking bottoming or being open, and they a straight guy was telling his straight friends what he learned based on listening to like watching these clips from a gay podcast. And to me, that was like an unexpected benefit of speaking about this publicly, which is like maybe making some straight people more sex positive, because I think there is such a like burden of monogamy and of if you flirt with anybody else, you are a bad person. And it's like, we are literally all animals and you're going to want to fuck other people. And that does not make you a bad person. It's just what you do with it and how you communicate it within the rules of your relationship. So I hope straight people can get out of the shackles of what the world has told them they have to be sexually.
Yeah, there was an interesting episode of a podcast that had Dan Savage on it, but it was talking about that, and it's like, I don't know, a straight couple could be together for however many number of years, maybe have kids together, be married, do whatever, and like a husband sleeps with someone else one time, and it's like, the marriage is over, everything's done, all this stuff.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, it's so crazy to think that like this momentary thing, especially when someone feels bad or it was a mistake or whatever it was, like, I don't know. I just feel like people are going to make mistakes and, I don't know, different timing and things like that can like lead to whatever. And I feel like the nice thing about a gay relationship, or a lot of them, is like, regardless of whether or not it's open or not, I feel like there's just like a little bit more, open-mindedness and thoughtfulness around it. And so I feel like you can navigate things like that. I mean, I do think that the majority of the relationships that I know, gay relationships that I know, are open in some degree.
Well, I think
sometimes.
it's also right. And it's also, we were told we were bad growing up as gay people, and then to then create our own rules that feels better in our guts and feels like it's still respectful. Like that's we're doing what feels good to us, and we're not going by the rule book of a group of
You're
people.
doing what's good to feels good in your guts.
And one might even say in my gay ass. But
yeah, I don't know. I just think like to be like a straight couple and like throw away some relationship that has meant so much to you for so many years and has so much equity built up and such a shared history over like an incident is just crazy.
I agree. And since you brought up Dan Savage, he is one of my favorite people. He's inspired me my whole life. And I was lucky enough to interview him on this podcast. But I also not only interviewed him, I flirted very hard because I very much have a handsome daddy thing. So I need to turn the mirror to Gus Kenworthy. If I, Eric Williams, love a daddy, is there an archetype that you find that you're most rock hard for? Or do you sort of kind of go across the archetypical field?
I mean, I like a daddy too. Not like necessarily like a daddy, but like I'm not usually into younger guys. I like guys kind of like my age or older. And part of it's definitely physical, but it's also just like I feel like there's just like a kind of like a swagger and like a confidence to older guys that I like. But yeah, my only real hang up is that like I like guys that are natural. So like I don't like if a guy is hairy, then like I want him to be hairy, and like I really love body hair. I'm like really into that. But like someone that shaves their body hair, it's like for me it's just a big turn off. That's like my kind of like deal breaker.
You don't even know what door you just opened, because I am constantly, annoyingly talking about the rights of hairy-bodied people, and we recently had a full segment being pro-Bush.
Bush is like my biggest turn on.
We love, in this home, we stand Bush. I just think that there's something so sexy about someone owning their masculinity, but also just like what is their natural state is, like you're saying, there's the swagger, there's the ownership, there's the confidence. I think what's beneath the shaving, and I don't know if you agree with this, but to me what's beneath the shaving is trying to be something other than you are. And sure, maybe I internalize that as like you think I should be shaved, but mostly it's like, no, when you're fully who you are, bush and all, get on top of me for sure.
Yeah, I'm into it. Also, I feel like I've had a lot of guys be like, "Oh my god, I like love your bush," and I'm like, "Then why are your pubes so trimmed? Like, you could also have this."
Yeah, in fact, it's kind of what you don't do to have the bush. So just don't touch it, babe.
Yeah, do less.
And do less.
Less is more.
And more will spring from the well. That is very, very important that we were able to see your political affiliation on Bushdom, and I truly appreciate you're on the right side of history. Well, because I'm asking about types, I find it so interesting too to think about our origin stories with types. So did you, when you were first hooking up, was it after you had come out, or were you able to sort of experiment before then? Because I certainly did not kiss a single guy until after I was out, and it was an insane feeling of electricity. But some people I know were able to dabble before. What was your journey?
I dabbled before I was out, but with only one person. I had a boyfriend in the closet from age 18 to like 22, 23, and it was like the only guy I had ever done anything with, and split up kind of before I came out, kind of like partly a little bit because of that. Like it was something that at the time he had not been interested in coming out, or hadn't ever really talked about it. And also like we just were not a match. Like had we both been out,
Yeah,
I feel like we would not have been together for 4 years. But it was like he was the only person that knew this part of me and this secret, and vice versa. And it was like, I don't know, both of our like only outlets for that.
yeah.
So
yeah.
I feel like we were sort of like bound together. It was like almost like a family friend when you're a kid or something.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really like, there wasn't so much choice there. And I feel like when I was getting ready to come out, I was like, oh, I really like want to like spread my wings and like be my own person. And yeah, so I had one sexual experience before I came out with a guy. And
It's
was also like
interesting
still
to me.
trying to be portrayed as straight and like doing things to keep up that facade.
Now that you are fully out, what would you say is the straightest thing about you now? Do you drink beer?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I'm actually not like a big drinker, but yeah, I'll drink a beer. I don't know. I like country music. I feel like that's like kind of straight.
Oh yeah, that's definitely kind of straight.
I don't know.
Do you not wipe your asshole? I'm kidding. Okay. What about
Yeah, I'm like, I haven't wiped my ass in 2 years.
now that's the straightest thing. What I do find though kind of amazing about that story of you hooking up and being with that same person in the closet for that many years, it goes to show you how the second you go outside of your comfort zone, and when you did finally come out, what it brings into your life in terms of positivity and the actual change that resonates with who you are. I think it makes sense that you're with that person for so long because it was the only sense of safety you could find within exploring your queerness. But it makes sense that it can take so long. And that's why people, I think, take so long to come out sometimes, or to work on a very scary project or whatever it is because it's so much safer to do what's the devil we know versus the devil we don't know. And for him, that was sort of like, you knew what to expect, and the coming out would have been obviously so fucking scary. So I hope you give yourself grace when you think back on that.
I do. Thank you. Yeah, but it's like a, whatever they say, a ship is safest in the harbor, but like, it's not what it was made for.
That is not what it was made for, baby. And you know what this podcast was made for, Gus Kenworthy? Was asking the next podcast question, which is, if the world was ending, you could only save one character actress, who would you save?
Rose Byrne.
The Australian.
I don't know why she came to mind. I love her so much in Bridesmaids and in Spy. I think she's so funny. But I mean, honestly, like Kristen Wiig.
Oh, wait, you're truly just going down the Bridesmaids cast list.
I know, but actually I'm changing it to Kristen Wiig.
No, wait a minute. Melissa McCarthy. No, I think Kristen Wiig is a stunning answer. Were you a Palm Royale watcher? That's her newer show of this past year.
I actually haven't seen it.
I haven't either, but I've heard that it's beautiful. There's beautiful people in it. But Kristen Wiig to me is such a brilliant answer because she has nailed a career of sure the bridesmaids funny big comedy, but the bitch can act. She can also obviously she slays when she's on SNL, and she also is the type of person which is the best type of character actress, that is the type of person that you can visualize yourself either smoking weed, having a drink, dancing on a dance floor, whatever it is, and fully geeking out. I bet you she's such a good time, and that's what makes me love her so much as a actress and as a person.
I'm in complete agreement.
Have you ever met Kristen Wiig?
No, I haven't.
And one day you will, Gus Kenworthy. We're gonna manifest.
All right, we're manifesting
one day.
right here. I wanna smoke weed with Kristen Wiig.
Oh, and you know what? If I happen to be working as a cater waiter at that party, would you let me take a little sip of that joint?
I'm sorry, you're actually at work. So no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, of course.
You're such a narc, dude. You're such a fucking narc. No, that I think if I could, since we're manifesting, if I could manifest a show smoking weed with my favorite character actresses and my gay girlies, Gus, can you imagine a show where you're just like ripping a bong with Rose Byrne, with Viola Davis, with Whoopi Goldberg, with Margot Martindale, with Toni Collette, with, I mean, think about
You're doing great. These are great actresses.
Thank you. Just think about the stories. Think about the stories. Because, you know, I don't know what your vibe is when you smoke weed, but I become a chatty Cathy and sweetie, I spill. And just to think about Judy Greer spilling Blaze out of her mind, I can't think of a better thing.
Have you had Can? Do you know what cans are?
Of course I've had Can. Sip.
Well, I'm obsessed with cans. I like invested in them. So I'm not even like plugging this because I'm an investor, but I am obsessed with Can, and like 2 small cans or like 3 or one of the high boys. And I am like my favorite self. I'm
yeah.
So happy, so smiley. I also feel like I'm like so funny and on it. I'm obsessed. Like I love being a little stoned.
And I promise you, even if you were not having any stake in this company of Can, I am so down to clown. And by the way, let me know who their ad people are in case they want to do a podcast ad. However, the can experience, I cannot think of anything better because there's something, it's actually tastes delicious. And yeah, that type of buzz.
It's so good. My best friend Jake and I actually each drank a high boy last night and went and saw Amelia Perez. Have you seen it yet?
No, I hear it's so good though.
Oh my God, it was so good. Also, I had literally no idea what was going to happen next the entire time.
Okay.
Like, I thought it was like 4 different things is where it was going to go, and it just completely went in different directions 4 different times. I was like, wow.
Okay, that's a great pitch. You got to buckle the brunch up and just let Amelia Perez do her thing.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm going to say is like, this isn't a spoiler, but to anyone who's seen it, like, how did Selena Gomez not know? Like, even at the end, didn't know? I was like, what?
I cannot wait to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to know what I'm talking about too.
I cannot wait to know what you're talking about. Well, Gus Kenworthy, before we say goodbye, I have to tell you, I have wanted to have you on this podcast for so long, and your honesty, candidness, and gay assery, I truly cannot tell you how grateful I am. And you are just not only an athlete, Olympic medalist, but also a good fucking hang. And thank you so much. Now, before you respond, let me ask you your final podcast question that I'm going to ask you right now. Gus Kenworthy, if you, as a part of the Burning Man experience, have to be radically independent, what would you say? Besides the camp cockpit, what would you say that you are most codependent with in your life today? Is it a piece of pop culture? Is it a boyfriend? Is it a marijuana joint? Or what else can you tell me that you are codependent with?
Yeah, I can be pretty codependent in a relationship.
And are you currently codependent in your current relationship?
I'm like an extreme extrovert, so I really like being around people, and I don't really like the way some people need a alone time to reset. I don't need alone time almost ever. Like I just a little bit will be enough, and like I really like being around people. And so then like when you're in a relationship, it's like you've got a person to be around all the time. It just like I feel like it like brings me to life.
Yeah.
Birdie,
right, what's your now?
Oh, this is who I'm the most codependent with.
Birdie,
come here.
Oh my God, I forgot to ask about your gorgeous dog, Birdie.
Yeah.
Oh my word. And look at this gorgeous finale to the episode. Birdie, you are worth being codependent over. And she's a star. She's a star.
She's so pretty.
She's gorgeous. I mean, as a dog girly myself, Birdie, you are a celebrity, and we all gay ass listeners, watchers alike, are thrilled we got to get a glimpse. Gus, tell the listeners where to follow you, and if there's anything you'd like to plug, can or otherwise.
I'm gonna plug Can if you want to get a little stoned. I'm gonna plug Nomatica if you like wine, you want to have a little drink. I'm going to plug my AIDS LifeCycle. I'm doing the AIDS LifeCycle this year in June. If anybody listening wants to donate to my ride, I'm matching all the donations, and really trying to raise some money. It's the last year they're doing it, and it's so important, such a great cause. It's been such a cool thing for our community. And that's it. Yeah. You can follow me. It's all my handles are just my name, Gus Kenworthy.
It's all linked in the description. Support the AIDS LifeCycle. Go get stoned. Follow Gus. Go look at that highlight to see his beautiful ass. And Gus, thank you for coming on. That's a gay ass motherfucking podcast.
Thank you. Oh, I'm plugging Monster too. Wow, I'm just a brand whore.
Brand whore, ass up. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for listening to That's a Gay Ass Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you click the like button on YouTube. And of course, you gotta be subscribed for more gorgeous gay ass guests. If you would like more gay assery, we are doing Gay Ass Sex. It is an interview series on the Patreon where I talk to proud sluts about what turns them on, what turns them off, and the most recent slutty thing they have done. That is patreon.com/gayasspodcast. And the next one coming up is a man with gorgeous hairy tits. Talk about a tease. Enjoy the rest of your gay ass day, and please, for the love of gay God, stay gay. Mwah. You've been listening to That's a Gay Ass Podcast, hosted by me, Eric Williams. If you want to see and hear more, make sure you're subscribed to us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or Patreon at Gay Ass Podcast. That's a Gay Ass Podcast is executive produced by Eric Williams and produced by Nathanael McClure. We'll see you next week.